Hello gang, so today we are working on setting the diamonds on the side of this black titanium and carbon fiber ring. So here you see we have our ring blank, and on the edges of the ring we beveled the metal and left just enough space that we can add some black diamonds into. So now that we marked out the spacing, we are going to use this carbide graver to then come back in and cut away metal so that we have enough space to set the stones and use the metal to set the prongs over the stones. So you'll see here that we're using a diamond impregnated disc to sharpen the front portion of the graver until it has a nice shiny polish. And then we're using even finer diamond polishing wheel to make it even more polished so that when we go and cut the metal, the chips just fall away. So here we're polishing the face of the graver, and then we'll come back and we'll polish the edges of it so that it cuts nice and clean through the black titanium. So now that we have our stones all marked out, we are going to cut a little lip around the top edge of the metal, and then we'll cut one around the bottom, and then we'll come back with some different burrs and cut into the metal so that our stones fit nicely onto those edges. Unfortunately with titanium, it's a very gummy metal and tends to stick to the graver. Other metals like gold or silver or even platinum aren't as gummy, and typically we can take longer cuts, but with the titanium we have to go a little slower. So here you see we've made those cuts, and now we're using a ball burr and some lubricant, and we are going to drill holes which we're then going to set the stones into. Here we're just working our way all the way around the ring, drilling every hole so that the whole side of the ring is filled with diamonds. And now we're going to use what's called a flat graver. So unlike the other anglette graver that we were using earlier, this one just has a flat front. This will allow us to remove metals straight down and just clean up the edges so that the stones will sit just right. We're still left with metal that divides the two sides of the ring. So usually we'll use a cylinder burr to do this, but because these diamonds are so small, there isn't a manufacturer that makes a cylinder burr that small. So here I'm actually creating my own custom cylinder burr, if you can call it that. But it's just a three-sided triangle, but it's very, very thin, probably about 0.3 millimeters thin. And if we use it with some lubricant at a high speed, we can slowly remove that metal from between those two prongs. Now that we've cut all the metal away for our prongs, we're going to come back and do a little quick pre-polish before we set our stones. Because once we have those stones in place, some of those little sections underneath the stones will be hard to reach and get to. So we're going to do a quick pre-polish and then come back and add our stone. Now it's setting time. So here we have our black diamonds, and we are going to push them into our settings and just get them nice and snug, and then we'll come back with a beading tool which we're going to use to push those little bits of metal that we left over the tops of the diamonds. This is a pretty time-consuming process, but if done right, it just makes the ring look so amazing. So one by one, adding all those diamonds in. And here's that beading tool I was telling you about. So even though you can't see it from here, the tip of that tool is concaved and fits right over those little sections of metal. And then if we push them and mold them over the tops of the stones, it leaves a nice rounded little prong that holds the stone in place so that it'll never fall out. And here's the ring with those diamonds all set in it. Next step is we are going to blacken this ring. So we're going to torch it with a flame after we clean it, and it's going to turn this titanium into a black titanium with a really, really hard surface, and it's going to look really, really nice with these black diamonds. This video really doesn't do it justice, but just check out the sparkle in those diamonds. If you saw this ring in person, you would just not even believe it. Stay tuned for the next video where we are going to torch this ring and turn it into a nice black titanium ring.